Now, this past week on Twitter, I got
Mhm.
into a nice exchange with some people about two-parent households, right? And the original tweet was from this woman who said that, you know, it was something to the effect of, two-parent households, or just because somebody comes from a two-parent home doesn't mean that they're, you know, doing better than people from single-parent homes, something to the effect of that general point. And I hopped into the replies and I said, well, you know, by almost every metric, children from two-parent homes do better than children from single-parent homes. And I got a lot of pushback with plenty of arguments that were, from my mind, nonsensical and
Mhm.
easily uh debatable. So one woman, and these were almost all Black women, by the way. I want to add that in the conversation. Uh, one one person was saying that the only reason why two parents potentially do better than single parent homes are because of the financial contribution of the second parent, right? Meaning that if you simply gave single mothers the extra income that the father would give if he was in the household, all of
Mhm.
the all of the gaps that you see between children that come from single parent homes and children that come from two parent homes would disappear. And I was like, well, no, that's obviously not true.
Mhm.
Because when you control for finances, you still see that children from two parent homes do better than children from one parent homes. Even if you compare children from two parent homes who are poorer than children who come from a single parent who happens to have more money. Now, is the gap as extreme? No, because resources is a big deal, right? It is a big
Yeah, it
deal.
is.
Having financial resources, for some people, is the difference between sleeping in a piss poor apartment versus being in the street.
Mhm.
But it isn't the only advantage. So there have been numerous studies that show that children that come from two parent homes are more likely to graduate from high school,
Mhm.
more likely to go to college, more likely to graduate college if they go to college. They're more likely to earn higher wages in the future, most likely as a result of graduating college. Um, they themselves are more likely to get married and have children in the future. They are less likely to commit a crime. Um, these are the many advantages. Oh, they are more emotionally stable. They have less behavioral problems, less emotional health problems. These are the obvious advantages of a two-parent household. And some of these things, as it pertains to boys, boys are less likely to commit rape.
Oh God.
If we're gonna talk about it, let's talk about it. Rape don't got nothing to
Whew.
do with finances.
No, that's very
None.
true.
Zero. That has to do with the thing that you get from your father that you don't get from your mother, in particular, boys.
But what does that have to do with oh my gosh, I hate this. It's always a slippery slope. There's always a little like, oh, but what about this scenario?
There's no what about with
Obviously,
two parent households.
actually, there is the
Give it
things
to me.
that you're name. Okay, so say for instance, what about when okay, we all hear these stories. I don't like this topic, but fraternities when they're running rampant raping these girls and they come
Mm-hmm.
from two-parent households.
Yeah, that does nothing to go against what I just said.
How not? You're saying that the stats are better when they come from a two-parent household.
They are. So the men who are in fraternities who commit sexual assault,
Mm-hmm.
there are less of those than the men who never go to college who commit sexual assault.
Okay.
Like when you talk about the stats and you talk about trends, you're not saying that there aren't outliers, and you're not saying every individual. So no one is saying that every individual person who comes from a two parent home does better off than someone who comes from a single parent home because there are obvious outliers.
So isn't an outlier a what about? You said there's no what abouts. That
No, no, no.
sounds
An
the
outlier
same.
is an exception. Like, except no one, we don't, you don't make rules around exceptions. They are exceptions by the definition of the word, right? So if you're, and part of the reason why I was engaging so long with these individuals is because these people were trying to pass this belief that it's close, or yeah, yeah, single two parent households might be better, but really not by much, and it's really because of the money. And I was pushing back against that because if you're even selling the perception that it's close, I think you are misleading Black people. Part of the reason why we have uh, a lot of issues, more so than other people, other communities, is because of how many of our households are not two parent households of people who are biologically all related to the offspring, meaning man, woman get together, have a child. Those two parents live in the household with that child. I'm not talking about step parent situations. I'm not talking about, aunties and grandmothers. We have a lot of that going on as well, right? And God
Hmm.
bless these people. But the data is the data.